Sis Nomshado Twala, whom we know as Shado Twala, is a legend in South African media as a radio DJ, talk show host, voice-over artist, journalist, entrepreneur, and TV producer. She started her career in 1986 on the first Black English language radio station, Radio Metro. In the 1990s, she established Kano Entertainment to nurture local talent and produce music, expanding to other African countries. She also did public relations work for the Premier of Western Cape, Ibrahim Rasool. There is a generation of South Africans who know her best as the judge on South Africa's Got Talent. Sis Shado manages her own entertainment business, Black Olive Entertainment, and is also a public relations media consultant. Sis Shado, thank you so much. I am so happy I bumped into you again. And I won't say I kidnapped you.
We keep bumping into each other, and we promised to get together.
Yeah.
So this was quite a surprise for me when you said, "Oh,
Yeah.
do come." So I thought, okay.
I was serious about this one. You see, the coffee can wait, but I need your wisdom. For people that don't know, I don't know which rock they are under, but where were you born? Do you have siblings?
Soweto.
Yeah?
I was born at Dube, actually. No, the hospital was Bridgman Hospital. I don't know why.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And but my parents lived at Dube. I'm the last child in the family. I had a sister and a brother who decided to just leave me behind.
Oh.
And so I've become the kind of matriarch of the family. I wasn't ready for this, though.
Yeah.
But Dube was actually very exciting to grow up in. You know the story about Dube? The apartheid government used it as a kind of test to see how a middle class black people could kind of, it was really trying to create just teachers and nurses and doctors and those kinds of people. And we, the people that had the toilets inside as opposed to outside.
Oh, that was a distinction.
That was a distinction. The houses also still. So it was an experiment for the apartheid government, you know, to build different classes.
That's where Vilagazi Street is.
Vilagazi Street. So the people that lived in Dube, Felicia Mabuza Sato. We have a lot of Joan Giti, who was a boxer.
Yeah.
We have Brad Gibson Kente. Yeah. So it was, you know, it was very creative.
Yeah.
My father was a jazz drummer, but also became a broadcaster at the SABC. He worked for the Rand Daily Mail. So there were journalists.
You were following up.
I didn't know this. I discovered much later. So there were boxers, there were athletes, there were golfers, there were journalists.
And there's a generation that doesn't know that there were African golfers.
Oh, please. 2 streets away from where I grew up, there was a very prominent golfer, Babun Klap.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he's in the history books for being, you know, one of the best golfers we had. So, that did Drake Skolka. I think you may know the kids. So there was a well-knit kind of social group. We blended community, and we blended together quite nicely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
So we still boast about Dube now and again. Tate Maponya was there, and, you know.
Maponya was the location, like we'll meet in Maponya.
Maponya, the shop, yeah.
I remember when I was doing my driver's license in Pietermaritzburg, the guy who was taking me for the test was from Soweto.
Yeah.
And I was doing the K53. He says, you know, Uti, when you're driving in Maponya, you'll be knocked sideways doing this whole thing.
My first drive, when I got a little car, it was a Mini.
Yeah.
I drove through Maponya to make sure that I can do this, you know.
That's a test case, I tell you.
It's beautiful.
So what social activities did you engage in as a child?
Ballroom dancing.
Oh.
Felicia Mabuza was my ballroom dance teacher.
Interesting.
Yeah, so when we went to school, And our parents could only be at home at about 5 o'clock after 5 because my mother was a factory worker as well. So they come back after 5. But when school ends at 2 o'clock, so between 2 and 3, there was downtime and there's no one at home. Yeah. So Felicia came up with this thing at the YWCA, which is in Dubai as well, and taught us ballroom dancing.
Amazing.
And the first song she'd play us when we got in was Young, Gifted and Black, just to get us into the mood of blackness, Yeah. So she did that. So that became one of it's only when I went to high school, then I played basketball, netball and hockey. You must see the scars on my legs still from the hockey stick.
At least your scars mine are from climbing trees and falling off the trees. Terrible legs. Yeah.
We used to go mountain climbing as well in Swaziland because we'd pack over the weekends.
Yeah.
I was at boarding school.
Yeah.
So to get away and go steal a bit of a drink and smoke a bit of a cigarette, you had to go out and go into the mountains. Sorry, did I say that?
I shall not say which school that was, but you did attend a high school in Swaziland.
Yes.
But the one thing is you didn't progress to higher education. Did that impact your self-image, self-worth?
Well, you know what? I think just being in Swaziland gave you a one-up. I was also not going to, even if I was not going to go to university because I was pregnant at a very early age and I wanted to have the child. My mother was angry, but we had the baby.
Can imagine.
But I had to really now start working and but it gave one up. I was a very confident young girl. I wanted, and because I didn't go to university, I was almost pushed to do things that I was not expected to do or know how to. So I would really work harder just to get ahead. Yeah. And I mean, I remember when I had my first, I was a very good typist. Because, Pitmans. So when we got computers the first time, and I applied for a job and they asked me if I could use a computer. I said, yeah, I can, but that one, you're going to have to show me how this one works. And I'd never seen one before. I said, you have to show me how this one works because mine was different. And they didn't know they were teaching me. They didn't know they were teaching me. So, I did things like that to get ahead. And of course, the language of English at the time opened lots of doors for young black people because then people did a double take every time you spoke. Like,
okay. Where are you from? America?
Where are you from? No, I'm from Soweto, but, I learned,
Yeah.
So, I had to find ways of getting ahead and being curious enough to learn things that I didn't know to not miss the fact that I didn't have. And my brother and my sister had done well at university.
Yeah.
And so my mother also, you'd come and visit our home. She'd say, let me tell you about my daughter. Let me tell you. Yeah. And she wouldn't talk about me because I was kind of like the disappointment, So I made up for
later.
Until later. Yeah. Well, I wish she was here now because she would have been so proud of me, but yeah.
But the academics were very important to our parents, so you can understand.
They were, especially because they didn't get any.
Yeah. But I must say I'm proud of, and I'm sure your son is so proud that he was wanted. It's kind of like, I'm going to keep my child.
Oh, yeah.
That is important. I love that. Which is going to be perfect segue to asking you, what are the 2 core values that influence and shape your beliefs and guide you most in how you conduct your life?
I don't know because it seems to change all the time. I was always a rebel as well. So...
with the cause.
With the cause, or without one, actually. But you discover one on your way there.
Yeah.
So values change depending on who I was trying to please, because I also wanted to be a pleaser, So I had to ask myself at a much later age, what actually are my values? But I think they change as long as I'm being good.
It's the
underlying thing. As long as I'm being good, I'm not hurting anyone intentionally. I'm not I'm not taking anyone, I'm stealing from anyone, just being a good human being for me is important. But when and I never went to church, which was a big thing for my father came from a very religious family, but he didn't go to church either. He'd listen to the mass on radio. But,
No, Dad gave me permission at 13 that I didn't have to go to church if I didn't want to.
Yeah. And everything that was supposed to be valuable or influence your values was kind of how all of us grew up. You go to church, you do well, you do good here and there. And when you do something bad, which I started when I was pregnant, I thought, shit. So I've lost everything.
Yeah.
I lost everything, So to hell with everything. So I'm just going to do what feels good. And that's my measurement of being a good person.
Yeah. You haven't done badly in that. You mentioned something, which is my next question, because I wanted to know, what is your definition of a conscience? Where do you believe it lives? And what's its value to human lives?
Your gut is your conscience, and it lives somewhere in your core, wherever you find your core. I know people always say would say it lives in your heart. But yeah, the heart pumps the blood and all of that. But I think the core is when that's where your conscience is.
And it's almost like you can actually...
Yeah, you can feel when you're doing something good, when you're doing something bad, there's something in your tummy that doesn't feel right. I think that's where it lives.
Yeah.
The anxiety you get before an exam, the confidence you get as well when you think you're doing something that you really want and that you're passionate about. The passion sits there too, So I think that's your conscience. That's what tells you what time it is in your life, especially.
And some people will say that's God.
God, soul, universe, it's in your plexus. And I think that's what it is. We call him different things. And that's why church became unimportant, because you find that call. You find a way of having that conversation with yourself. And how you do connect is about how you feel. How you feel will tell you, you're missing a beat here.
Yeah.
And
you're
out of balance.
Yeah.
Right. So you wake up and talk to your conscience every day that influences how you go about. And I leave home, and this is what I do. I leave home because I don't believe I walk alone.
Yeah.
So I leave home, like today I left and said, hey, guys, let's go and meet Dudu, and you'll speak, you give me
you come through me.
Yes, you come through me. So whatever this is for, whatever message we need to leave out there.
It's the intention. I think your intention is pure. But the one thing we will not be amiss about is you are a legendary radio broadcaster. No, I'm not debating it.
But I've got a problem with legend.
Yeah, no. Icon. You are a pioneer. You are... Okay, we're moving on.
Move on.
And DJ, having started your broadcasting career in 1986 on Metro, which at that time was the first black language English commercial radio. What was the moment you knew this is more than a job, but a vocation for you?
It was about living at a time that we did. It was 1986. Apartheid was still in its glory. We were a team of black people broadcasting from underground. We broadcast from K2. We had separate toilets, separate canteens, and we didn't have a window. And we were not trusted at all. And that's why we had to speak English. So it was you're going into hell for 3 hours, 4 hours, and you come out, you think, I did it. I represented my people, But we could tell our stories in ways that were very subtle. We could come back and report what was going on in our communities, but also communities felt very supported, and we felt supportive because everyone was listening to us. everyone was listening to our music. And people would just really be amazed that we came out of Soweto. We came out of townships. So people were learning about us, but we were also learning about, the ways of infiltrating the government at the time.
It's almost like a North Star, that if we are in that space, we thrive. You're keeping us out, but when we're there, we can do it.
And we pioneered something. Yeah. And I can't even put it into words because it was intangible what we did, what we communicated to everybody. And we were trusted with lots of information,
Yeah. You mentioned these two worlds. So it's like you're in a world where you could be perceived as a sellout.
Yes.
For working at SABC. And then you juxtapose this with the harsh discrimination and the reality that you're experiencing through those 3-4 hours in the workplace. How, when you reflect on it, what made you live through that? Why would you put yourself through that?
It was exciting because of the dream we had. We were going to be better than 5 as far as our numbers were concerned. Because we were not paid as much as anybody. But it's because people thought it would fail. It was a test. And we grew. And people trusted us now with information. Advertisers were coming to sell us baking powder or whatever it is that,
the
sunlight
products.
soap and all of that, But the interrogation, which was terrible. So after every 3-hour show, there was a reel-to-reel that recorded everything that went out. So that reel-to-reel must be taken upstairs to the big boss. And it's played back to you. And you must, if you slipped in a word or two that wasn't recognized, if you played a Humasikela or Miriam Makeba, it's like what?
Oh, they were banned.
They were banned. And they were in the library, though. But they take a whole LP and scratch the track using a nail so that the needle would jump. You couldn't play it. And if you managed to play another, you played a song that was in vernacular, you needed to go and explain what those words were. So you were monitored, but you must go and explain. And sometimes you've got nothing to explain, but it was the process of intimidation. So you'd sit there, the power play for 3 hours. Oh, this is what you did. Oh, Ms. Twala, you did well today, and that sort of thing. But you're anxious to
just so that you know who's boss, hey?
Yeah, who's listening.
So Tsotsital.
Tsotsital as well.
How did that help you communicate with the...
Well, those are the things that you needed to go and explain. For instance, 100 Rand was a tiger. A tiger. So what are you talking about a tiger for? I mean, we're not at the zoo, and those kinds of things. But they got clever. They employed, even in the township, they employed police now who, because they were police at the time, and they spoke different languages. So township language had to change all the time because the police would know what we're talking about because they live amongst us. They live in the township.
Oh, my gosh.
There's a time when we'd even speak back. We would use a sentence and pronounce it backwards, and just to try and confuse. But every time, because we had street committees as well. Yeah. Remember? Yeah. So a new language would come up, in the evening, when we're not going to work. Yeah. There's excitement, there's a strike. Yeah. So, but eventually they could tell what we're talking about, but we try and change it as often as possible. So but Tsotsital worked.
Infiltration of liberation struggle happened.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that sounds nice. Infiltration of the liberation, yes.
What does silence mean when you're a broadcaster?
You're losing money. Silence was not allowed. That's a loss of money, even for half a second. How much did a 30-second ad cost? So that's how much you're losing.
Wow.
It's just not done. It's terrible. It could come out of your salary if you were silent, if there was a moment of silence. So you had to, even if you're not speaking, something needs to go out. Something needs, you can hit a tin or whatever it is, but silence is terrible. That's loss. That's money. That's income loss.
It's a different world indeed. What do you think has been your unique value proposition as a broadcaster?
My music.
My
choice of music was always, and thanks to Swaziland and those kinds of things, because when we were at high school, I used to listen to LM radio, but we were also exposed to a lot of music from all over the world in Swaziland. But LM radio being in Mozambique at the time, which eventually became 702, LM radio, I think became 702's license eventually.
Okay.
But John Burks and all of them were working at LM Radio, I think, at the time. So we were exposed to a lot of beautiful music and from, as I say, from all over the world in different languages. So when I came to, do you remember Hillbrow Records?
I know Hillbrow.
Hillbrow Records. Do you remember Hillbrow Records? So Leonard Cohen ran it. And he eventually opened CD Warehouse, which was in Rosebud.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was a brand we knew growing up.
Yeah, and was, you're so much younger than me. CD Warehouse also opened in Cape Town. But Leonard Cohen would order music from America. And when Metro came, he'd call me and say, come, my boxes have landed. Pick out what you want. Because he knew I'd play it on the radio.
Yeah.
He was clever. So I was marketing it for him.
Yeah.
Without having a marketing contract. Yeah. But so I became that person you listen to for new music.
Yeah. Which is also good for your brand.
It was good for my brand. But also I was the only woman for a long time on the radio station. Yeah. Amongst 8 guys or 9 guys. So, and they treated me like so beautifully, like their queen,
which you are.
That come hang out with me even when they're off duty and that sort of thing. So I started working with, and then the truckers, because I did the trucking program, Shell Goes Trucking, which they had Shell Road to Fame as well. Yes. Shell Goes Trucking, we were talking to truckers at night. And that's something that put us on the map. People were so scared to say their fathers are truck drivers. They were not proud of it. Yeah, it was like this street sweeper, there's no dignity in it. But we brought the dignity back by speaking to truckers on the road. They became my friends. Shell would take me to, or Shell created those truck stops where they could now have something to eat and have a shower, because the roads are long.
And now we take those for granted.
Yeah. But they really became, somebody's truck driver's child would be born, it would come up on my show when they call, because they'd call to say where they are and talk to their families.
Yeah.
So that's
a whole different culture.
It was
community.
Yeah. Wow. No, it was lovely. It was lovely.
So in the age of social media and streaming, what do you think radio still offers that cannot be replicated by algorithms?
I think that there won't be anything like radio, even in 20 years' time. Radio will still be a necessary. We grew up with a relationship with radio, South Africans, black people generally. Radio was always our best friend. People in the mines would carry their radio on, the shoulder. The PM10 ever-ready battery would be put in the sun to charge, that sort of thing. It is part of a culture that it brought you pride and dignity. And if you didn't have a radio, you didn't have a friend. You couldn't converse. You couldn't sit in a conversation and have a decent conversation with other men. It was usually men at the time. But the black box that used to live in our home, Shem, you may not remember. The first radio was a black box that was put in township homes. That it broadcast for a few hours a day. That's where the propaganda would come.
So who put it?
The SABC, the apartheid government. That's
okay.
The first black box that used, and they turn it on just for news and just to tell us where we belong and then switch it off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every home had one.
Can somebody write down this history? I'm really being educated here. Okay.
Yeah, umsakazo. That was the first umsakazo.
Okay. Just so that you have some information from their perspective.
And in fact, the railways, I think, were part of it, because I think the railways also had, in the trains, they had one. I think Prasa, which I don't know what they were called then, but it would be the first iteration of South African Railways had a hand. I think they brought it from Britain. Had a hand, and the whole idea was to talk to your passengers or something.
Okay,
And then it became what we know as umsakazo from the SABC.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
That's how it all started. I may have my dates wrong, which started first, but it was linked to that.
Now I'm so interested in broadcasting in a different way. What is your all-time favorite song that you would not mind listening to every day of your life, and why?
Songs mean so much to me, places, times, and experiences. But somebody that I really fell in love with, and maybe because the two songs by Busi Mhlongo.
Oh, Sis
Busi Mhlongo.
Yeah.
She did the Lord's Prayer, but in a very different way. Also very emotive, because when she recorded, she was guaranteed death because she was dying of cancer. But she recorded it at that time. It was almost her prayer, but in a very rocky, funky way. It is beautiful. And she's got another song, Wakazulwa, which is from the same album she did while she was on her way out. And Thandiswa does it so beautifully as well now. Thandiswa has re-recorded in her own way. So Wakazulwa and Baba Wetu.
Okay.
Absolutely anytime. Actually, I don't want it anytime and every time, because 9 times out of 10 it leaves me in tears. Yeah. Because
those songs that just like involuntary.
Yeah. But she's
just
amazing.
Me. I haven't heard that name for a long time.
Busi Mhlongo, ne?
Yeah.
Yes, amazing. Urban Zulu was one of her big albums. I got to travel with Mama Keba a lot. In fact, this young man who died from the Huxtable show.
Oh, Theo.
Malcolm, Theo.
Malcolm, yeah. Jamal.
I was with Miriam Makeba at the Caribbean islands in St. Lucia. She had a concert with them, young musicians. And I was so worried that when she went on stage, nobody would listen to her.
Yeah.
Because it was a young R&B kind of audience.
Yeah.
And performers. And he was in one of the bands performing.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, it was in a picnicky kind of situation. And I thought, oh my goodness, no one's going to these kids don't know who Miriam Makeba is. So I walked into the crowds when she took the stage. People were crying, saying,
wow,
my parents used to listen to her. They knew so much about Miriam Makeba. They were so emotional. And I thought, oh my goodness. And it's Nyakupenda Malaika, which also was the song that kind of brought everybody together. So it's one of those songs that I don't mind listening to, because she was not only representing South Africa, she was representing the whole continent, really.
It's amazing how much you learn from your parents. Because, I mean, I used to love cleaning the house with Dad on weekends, on Saturday. And he used to then put his LPs, Joel Coco, Letambuli, and so, I mean, and then people say, but how do you know this? I'm like, because my father used to listen to them. Yeah, so that is amazing. What is the one truth about humanity that you've learned listening to people as a talk show host?
Listening to people, people, we always, and still today, we're not happy, we're not satisfied, we're looking for this freedom, but we don't even know what it looks like. And so our humanity has had a lot of dependence on our state of mind. I think it's been eroded in many ways because we don't remember who we were. We don't remember who we're supposed to be. We're influenced by so much that's coming at us at all times. So we thought we had freedom, but we didn't know what it looked like. And this is not it we're discovering. But what are we looking for? Who are we? our humanity doesn't exist in the same way, depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You know. So I wonder if we'll ever discover who we are.
Because I was just talking to mentees about, we now just, Ubuntu is a concept. It's like, if you kind of say, how is it lived by you?
Ubuntu. No, my darling. It is
so sad.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's thrown around it wherever people think it's going to solve all our problems. Yeah. Why don't you apply some Ubuntu? And the Ubuntu doesn't work because we interpret it so differently.
Yeah, it's not about what it is.
Yeah, so you can't even quote Mandela anymore. I mean,
yeah,
you know, that's done in the waste bin. Everything must go into the waste bin. Here's something I did, and I was almost killed for it. I went to... we were handpicked just before we went for our first vote. The Freedom Forum in the US handpicked somebody. Suzette Mafuna was one part of my team. Edim Balo was part of, so they took people from television, from radio, from the newspapers.
Okay.
Yeah, media. They took us to the US, and we went through to universities. We were on a road trip to say what the mood was like in South Africa and what we think ought to happen, what our expectations were for the voting day. We were there in February and we were about to vote. Mandela had just gotten out. I said, I wish we didn't have to vote now because we don't know anything about the meaning of democracy. It's a word, but what does it mean? How does it inform us of what we're about to do as far as voting is concerned?
The choices we make, yeah.
And people wanted to kill me and say, we've been waiting for so long for a vote. You're saying we must still learn how to vote. I said, no, it's learning about the concept of democracy and the concept of how, what it means, what are we striving for, who to vote for, who's going to interpret that democracy for us. And here we are.
In 31 years... we think, oh gosh, we could have listened to that wisdom. Yeah. Because that is the foundation. That is the foundation.
We still don't know where we are, democracy-wise. And what is it? It's a foreign concept. And what made me think of that was the Ubuntu. Because democracy is also just, it's thrown in there. Yeah. Part of my democratic right here. You know, we fight for it. But what does it look like? What does it feel like?
In practice. Yeah.
In practice. How does it influence who we want to be? Because we're not even working towards a common goal, you know. We're in the dark.
Yeah.
Know?
Fumbling around. So we were, not we. Can you see now? I'm like,
yeah, we.
You or me, I am you. At least we are living it. So you were a judge for 8 seasons.
9, actually. It was 9 years.
9 years. South Africa's Got Talent.
Oh.
Yeah?
Oh.
I'm more interested in the spirit of the South Africans. What did you see of us?
Talented people, hungry people for...
Yeah.
We're so creative. We don't need much to express ourselves, and creativity is the safety. People feel I can clown around, it's not me, because there's space to be a comedian, and that's where everything comes out. With music, you can come out and share, because you know that's where we live. We live in a very creative space, and that's where we give ourselves permission to be, because that's when you can stand out. Otherwise, you don't want to stand out in any other space, you know. You must be invisible.
Yeah.
But where you want to be visible is when you're being creative. That's why people write so well. They play music so well. They can act on television and on the theater stage. And that's who South Africa is. They very bold and very, you know, very confident about finding that medium where you can go visit and then come back to, you know, to being...
Go and play.
Yeah, go play and then come back. So yeah, that was exciting. That was exciting for me. It just opened a different window as far as, and I think if we spent more of our resources in the creative or encouraging creative space, which is what I'm trying to do now with young people, is that we could cut joblessness in half, just to make it, formalize it, and make it a serious economic driver.
Yeah.
I think, and we took it seriously. I think
it can infuse into other areas. Because we talk creativity and innovation, but how are we going to become innovative without the creativity?
Well, even engineers need creativity, you know. So, and I think if we stuck there and start moving, you see what trips us up is the matric. It's useless these days. You can't do anything with a matric.
Because it's what skill, what competence do you have?
Exactly.
How are you going to add value?
We close we've got TVET colleges which replace something else that used to happen, the technical schools that used to be there.
Yeah.
So bricklayers, I spoke about truck drivers.
Yeah.
So no one wants to be a bricklayer. It's not a nice job.
Where you actually
doesn't look sexy. It doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
Australia's taking all our plumbers, eh? All our bricklayers, and they're giving them.
I think the godfather of AI, actually, one of the top jobs, he said, be a plumber.
Yeah,
if
be
you
a
want
plumber.
to survive
During COVID, plumbers were working hard. Electricians were working hard.
Yeah.
You know. And
those are essential services.
Those are essential services. So that's where we ought to be, really.
Yeah.
And as far as that is concerned, you see these little kids that are on social media now and again. They make an aeroplane with a little wire car.
Remember the wire cars?
Exactly.
What fun that was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we should go back there and people will be employed. Advertising agencies can use that wire car to advertise the new BMW, if you know what I'm saying, you know? Yeah.
But it also just unleashes the creative part of you.
Yes.
Which is...
people happy.
Yeah, we're stifling ourselves. On an interview, you once said post-apartheid South Africa, about post-apartheid South Africa, that in wanting to look successful as people, so if you could dress nicely and drive a nice car, it meant you have arrived. So our freedom has become material freedom as opposed to a conscious freedom. You want to chat more about what conscious freedom is?
Conscious freedom is, again, going back to what democracy is supposed to be. Conscious freedom for me was freeing the mind, the thought, the behavior, the dream of being still a community of people. And when I say a community of people, I'm not talking black people, because the integration of human beings was that. So some of us wanted to justify success.
Yeah.
Was to have a nice car. I've arrived, you know, to have
Which is why, what's that? What's a BMW?
Yeah, black men's wheels.
Isn't that sad? Okay.
But this is why we find ourselves where we are now.
Yeah.
Quick buck, instant gratification.
Sorry to BMW, but, you know, that's what we call it.
You know, instant gratification at whatever cost. Crime.
Because we want it now.
We want to arrive.
We
want to arrive, like now. And that shows that I've gained my freedom.
Yeah. I mean, we were just chatting with the mentees, because I was giving them, I was sharing with them a story. I was at a particular hotel, and they had just done a refurbishing. And I mean, South African hotels are fairly good. I used to always say, even 3 stars in our country is just, when you compare it to Europe and America, they have nothing on us, I tell you. So this was a 5-star. And so her first word, in fact, 3 of them ended up servicing me throughout that time, kept on saying, hey, now we look like a Dubai. And I was like, huh? So that's the epitome. So I said, you do know that was a desert. Can you have the ability, the freedom you want to free your mind, to understand that South Africa has the ability to be a Dubai to many people. And for you not to think of going to spend your money in Dubai, but bring people to come and spend and build the Dubai you want, that you can be proud of. And you know what you're talking about is we'd rather be consumers than the producers.
Of course.
And we just...
And that's why we're where we are.
Leaving us empty. Empty. Anyway. Yeah. There was a time
we need to have a discussion about how to fix that.
Yes.
Because it's going to be with us for a long time if we don't fix it now. And we fix it one person at a time. It's not a magic wand.
It is not an inspirational talk on a stage.
No.
And then tomorrow you're a different human.
Exactly. You know, it's
which is what I always say.
Yeah. It's not a magic wand. Yeah. And one person at a time is important.
Yeah. But I suppose, I always say, if you do not have a vision, like what is your vision of it, which is excluding the financial? What is freedom? What is liberation to you? And I don't understand how you can be free when you're scared that the next paycheck, that is not freedom for me.
That's not freedom. You'll always be chasing the paycheck and you haven't lived, because living well does not mean having money.
Yeah.
Right? You can live well without material things.
And you find people who are in, not that we want to romanticize squatter camps, who can be in a squatter camp and be more joyous than somebody in a mansion.
I can show you a lot of people. There's a woman who's moved. I was in Cape Town not so long ago, and she lives in a very beautiful tin house.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very clean. Yeah. She's decorated so nicely. She's not paying rent.
Yeah.
Number one. But she's living a good life.
Yeah.
We went to visit because we're doing some research. But what I'm saying, though, also not glamorizing poverty, but I'm saying wherever you are, again, let's look at the word poverty and being poor. What does it mean?
Poverty of spirit is more devastating than the other poverty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we need to choose the words we use and the people on the ground. Who's on the ground? Our vocabulary is...
Yeah, I know.
And then we become my people afterwards, I'm representing my people.
All the way to another country to spend the people's money, but that's okay. How did becoming a mother to your son influence your self-perception as a woman?
Contrary to people discourage you to be a mother at an early age, but I don't think we ever ready to have children. And I think there's a whole concept of where kids come from and why they're here, why they come through you.
Considering he chose you.
Yeah, exactly, why they come through you. So I was scared because of the peanut gallery, shouldn't have. And I think that's where my strength came from. I was going to do this, come rain or shine, and make myself proud, because I was not about to leave my mother with a child and go and pursue a PhD somewhere or whatever it is that will make me a better person. This person is depends
already
on me.
Making you better.
Yeah, but it depends on me. Yeah. And there was no dad to talk about or anything like that. Oopsie, But it really made me believe more in myself, even though I doubted myself in very many ways, because of people say, it's going to do this to you, it's going to do this to you, your life will become nothing, all the negative. So, and I think that's what propelled me every time to do something to make sure that I'm a better person to this child, and you learn every day. I look at him today and I think, oh, wow, beautiful boy.
Yeah. Who's also a father now, is he?
I'm a grandma to lots of children. I'll leave it at that.
Job well done. And then in terms of your daughter, how did she expand or challenge your identity as a woman?
She still does. She still does, because I think I had more to give my son, because we come from two different, points. With my daughter, I actually had to revisit my own life. What can I do differently that would teach her not to do? Learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
I wanted her to know my mistakes, but was I too soon to tell her about my mistakes, not to change them? Because it would then limit her experience and exploration.
Yeah.
I wanted to explore like me, but I can't say do that, but don't do this. It's difficult. But it made me revisit my own life, what I did wrong, and is there anything right, And I'm still learning through her now. And the only thing I really asked her to think deeply about, or not do it at all, is having children. I said, if you can, just don't have. Because this world is challenging, and we don't know. But maybe I'm not saying
find solutions.
They'll find their own solutions. Yeah. So you can't say go and not go.
Yeah. But you can give a perspective of why. So as a single parent, how did you balance being a nurturer and a disciplinarian at home?
I don't think I'm much of a disciplinarian, hey?
Oh, okay.
I don't. We have conversations.
Yeah.
And maybe I sulk, because for me, discipline meant withdrawing certain things from. It's either people you beat up children, or you take
time out.
Yeah, or time out, or take things away.
Yeah.
Ultimatums, and I think that's so uncomfortable too. So we have a conversation, but if it doesn't come through, I've never disciplined, and I think that's why my kids are the way they are, because it's been hard to.
Yeah.
I don't know what's right or wrong.
I can remember, I'd taken a 1 cent, and I took the 1 cent and I went to go and buy a sweet, and I told them when they came back, I took a 1 cent, and I was like, but I told you. And I was like, what? I was at 8, 9. So that was confusing. I've told you, I declared I didn't steal it. I took it before I could ask you, but I didn't steal it. And then there was one time where we snuck out, and my friends, Uzano Tabi, can talk more about that. And Dad kind of, he said, I need to give you a hiding, just so that you know that I'm not happy about it.
Yes.
And we laughed about it afterwards.
Okay.
And, so we still had a discussion. I mean, my parents were fascinating. And he said, I just need to discipline you that way so that you know we're not happy about what you've just done. So what is emotional health to you, and how do you prioritize?
I spend a lot of time alone, and I really deprive myself of out there. So at least I try and be at home as often as possible. And when home, then I do my little meditations. But my meditations are not the meditation. I meditate by cooking. Oh, I love cooking.
Oh, can I please get
yeah.
delivery?
No. So I play in my kitchen, and that's part of my meditation if I'm alone, or clean the house, or...
And people don't understand that cleaning is so therapeutic.
It's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. Just when you see that mess go away, and just there's a different energy. Yeah. So I do a lot of cleaning. I don't have a helper.
Yeah.
So I
have to tell my helper that I'm a better cleaner than her.
No, I don't.
She is so shocked that I can clean the way I do.
I don't want anyone in my space.
Well, I have mommy, so I need help.
Mommy, so you're excused.
Yeah.
So I do all of those kinds of things. And then I read a lot. I play a lot of music. So I've got a lot of me time things to do. And that's how I keep, especially when I'm feeling frazzled. Sometimes you wake up with a start and you think, why?
Yeah.
Maybe a movie I saw, a bad dream or something. But until my core, again, is beating in a very slow and comfortable pace, then I can go out and do it. I sometimes
be
cancel
large
things
in the world.
because
when you're
I'm not feeling
I'm
not at my best.
Yeah. When you're out of sync, you get silly. You can feel it for sure.
So that's how you do your emotional health.
Yeah.
You take care of it, you know.
In terms of success, what does that look like in your life?
Oh, success is really learning every day. That's when you're successful, when you can have learned the lesson and don't repeat the lesson, the mistake. And because it means you didn't learn the first time around. So the success is we becoming every day. So you may become into a different kind of expectation. You know how to navigate it, but if you don't know, it doesn't mean that you're repeating something from the past.
You really context is different.
Yeah, context is different. You are a different person. You know, as we grow older, we change sometimes our beliefs and or the way our beliefs influence who we are. So I think success is when you can sit back and enjoy the lesson and enjoy the journey and have the wisdom to say, this is new, but I'm happy to go with it.
Is there an era or something in your life you wish you could have done differently?
No.
Nothing.
Everything was necessary to bring me to where I am today.
Yeah. And some people find that difficult, that there are people who are so conscious about, because even when it has not turned out the way you wanted it, you are conscious about it and you embrace it and you take responsibility and you move.
Exactly. And I think everything that's happened to me has shaped me.
Yeah.
Shaped who I am now.
Yeah.
And without it happening, I'd probably be trying to be someone else.
Yeah.
And copying other people.
And we do love the Miss Nomshado that we have in front of us. So in closing, at this, I can go on forever. It has been an education. And I'm so happy we had this conversation.
I'm just loving the way you probe. You never know what's coming.
Yeah. What's the wisdom you would like to end this conversation with? You know, something that I can ponder about, something that can reach somebody who's listening, watching us at the moment.
I just spend every moment you have to find you and your truth. Really, if I asked you what your truth is right now, we'd have to talk for another 2 hours or so. And because if you find that, it's your guide, it's your spirit, it's what carries you when no one else is there. Just understanding just your truth, I think, which other people call your purpose, and that really grounds you and makes you appreciate whatever your life gives you on a daily basis.
Yeah. And it grounds and also gives you wings, doesn't it? Because then it's like both are possible.
Yeah. Well, it gives you wings and you come back and land.
Yay.
And when you land, you think, I can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. Beautiful.
Amazing life. I'm so grateful for your life. I'm grateful that I lived in this time for you to be in this life. Even observing your journey was always an inspiration. And you always had this creative energy. Your look was creative. It was like this cool person. Really, we will find another word for legend. But in our hearts, I mean, they're just people that are timeless. And you are one of those.
Thank you. I feel totally honored. Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed this wise conversation from our gem in our world. We would surely be poorer for not having her in our midst. Don't just watch, like, subscribe, and share. Help us grow this channel to reach as many more people as we can who love enlightening, reflective, and constructive content. Until next time, on another episode of Wisdom Personified Conversations with Dudu Msomi, be compassionate, love-filled, and live consciously. Thank you for making time for this episode of Wisdom Personified Conversations with Dudu Msomi. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell notification to be informed when our next episode is available. Wisdom Personified Conversations with Dudu Msomi is also now available on Facebook Watch, Apple and Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. Enjoy the wisdom journey.